Hello, history buffs and curious minds, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're embarking on an incredible journey, winding the clock back not just a few centuries, but several millennia. Our destination, the year 4350 BC, that's over 6,300 years ago. So, what was the world like way back then? What were our ancestors doing, thinking, and building? Let's strap into our time machine and find out. First, let's get our bearings. The year 4350 BC falls squarely within a period archaeologists call the Neolithic era, or the New Stone Age. This wasn't a time of primitive cave dwellers grunting at each other. Far from it. This was an age of incredible innovation and social change, a time when humanity was laying the very foundations for civilization as we know it. The biggest revolution of this era, agriculture. For thousands of years, people had been learning to cultivate plants and domesticate animals. And by 4350 BC, this way of life was becoming widespread. Imagine a small village nestled by a river in what we now call Europe. The sun rises, casting a golden glow over fields of emmer, wheat, and barley. People are already awake. Some are heading out with stone-bladed sickles to harvest the grain. Others are tending to their livestock, goats, sheep, and cattle, which provide milk, wool, and meat. This shift from a nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a settled agricultural one was monumental. It meant a more stable food supply, which allowed populations to grow. For the first time, people could truly put down roots. This is the world of the linear pottery culture, or LBK, which had spread across Central Europe. Their name comes from the distinctive linear decorations on their pottery, a testament to their artistic sensibilities. These early European farmers lived in longhouses, massive timber structures that could house an entire extended family, sometimes up to 20 or 30 people, along with their animals. Life was communal. You worked together, ate together, and faced the challenges of the world together. Building these longhouses was no small feat. It required felling huge trees with stone axes, shaping the timber, and erecting a sturdy frame, all signs of sophisticated woodworking skills and community cooperation. Inside, the air would be smoky from the central hearth, where meals were cooked in handmade ceramic pots. These pots are like time capsules for archaeologists, telling us what people ate and how they prepared their food. Now, let's shift our focus to another part of the world, ancient Egypt, long before the pharaohs and the Great Pyramids. The Nile Valley was a green ribbon of life cutting through the desert around 4350 BC. This region was home to cultures like the Badarian and the emerging Naqada culture. These weren't unified kingdoms yet, but rather a series of small villages and chiefdoms along the river. Like their European counterparts, they were farmers, cultivating the rich silt left behind by the annual flooding of the Nile. What's fascinating about the Badarian people is their attention to the afterlife. Excavations of their cemeteries reveal that they buried their dead with great care. The deceased were often placed in a fetal position, wrapped in animal skins or red mats, and laid to rest with personal belongings. These grave goods included beautiful, thin-walled pottery, combs carved from ivory, and stone cosmetic palettes used for grinding pigments like malachite for eye makeup. This wasn't just for fashion. It was likely believed to have magical or protective properties. These careful burials suggest a developing system of belief, a concern for the individual's journey after death, which would become a central theme in Egyptian civilization for millennia to come. Meanwhile, over in Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, something truly transformative was happening. This is the cradle of civilization. And in 4350 BC, we're in what's known as the Ubaid period. While other regions had villages, Mesopotamia was starting to see the birth of the world's first towns. Places like Eridu were growing larger and more complex. At the heart of these settlements, we see the beginnings of monumental architecture, the first temples. These weren't just simple shrines. They were built on raised platforms, precursors to the massive ziggurats that would later dominate the Mesopotamian skyline. These temples were the economic, political, and spiritual centers of the community. They suggest the emergence of a priestly class, be individuals who organized labor, managed food surpluses stored in temple granaries, and mediated between the people and their gods. This organization was key, managing irrigation systems, storing grain, and overseeing large construction projects required a level of social structure far beyond that of a simple farming village. The seeds of urban life, of cities, were being sown right here. But what about the tools that built this world? We call it the Stone Age for a reason. In 4350 BC, metal was still a novelty. While some cultures were beginning to experiment with hammering native copper, stone was the primary material for tools. But don't picture crude, chunky rocks. Neolithic tool-making was an art form. Flint knappers could craft razor-sharp blades, arrowheads, and sturdy axe heads with incredible precision. Polished stone axes were particularly important, allowing people to clear forests for agriculture and shape wood for construction more efficiently than ever before. It was technology that was perfectly adapted to the needs of the time. Let's also not forget about the parts of the world where farming hadn't yet taken hold. In many regions, from the Americas to Australia, people continued to live successful and sophisticated lives as hunters. They possessed an encyclopedic knowledge of their environs, the seasonal patterns of plants, the migratory routes of animals. Their cultures were rich with art, storytelling, and complex social networks. The agricultural revolution wasn't a single event that happened everywhere at once. It was a slow, uneven process, and for many people in 4350 BC, the traditional ways of hunting and gathering were still the most reliable path to survival. So, as our journey to 4350 BC comes to an end, what have we seen? We've seen a world in transition, a world where communities were growing, putting down roots, and building societies more complex than any that had come before. We've witnessed the power of agriculture to reshape landscapes and human destiny. From the longhouses of Europe and the pre-dynastic villages along the Nile to the burgeoning temple towns of Mesopotamia, humanity was on the move, not just across land, but into a new chapter of its own story. The world of 4350 BC was a world of farmers, builders, artists, and priests, all laying the groundwork for the future for us. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible trip back in time. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did. What ancient time period should we explore next? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the past. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.